Country in conflict, but with the capital compromise. The conflict with Eastern Europe during the Cold War of 1947. During World War II, the Soviet Union and the United States of America were allies against Germany. They had become allies to prevent Germany from taking over. Even though the United States and the Soviet Union were on the same side during World War II, there was always a strong tension between the two countries. After World War II, Germany was defeated. Britain and France were left drained and exhausted. The United States and the Soviet Union were also drained, but both became known as the superpowers of the world. The United States and the Soviet Union became rivals through conflicting ideologies and mutual distrust, and were constantly competing for power. The Soviet Union wanted to spread communism throughout Eastern Europe, but the United States wanted Eastern Europe to have the right to be free, have the right to do whatever they want without the government being so involved. The United States wanted to spread capitalism throughout Eastern Europe. In 1946, Eastern Europe, under the control and the influence of the Soviet Union, Europe was divided into a west side, including Western democracy in the US, and an east side, the Soviet Union and Soviet-occupied territories. An iron curtain separated Europe. West Germany became a surprisingly stable Western democracy. East Germany became established as a Stalin-style socialist state. The government was formed into a centralized and dictatorial regime. The state security police maintained an inspection of the people in the area where the Soviet was controlling. The citizens in Eastern Europe were strictly banned for free speeches and opinions against the government. Even the artistic and intellectual programs were strongly controlled. During the Cold War, Germany became the center for all the tensions between democracy and communism. The location of Germany as a gateway between East and West Europe made it the ideal place for these political struggles to occur. The Allies had many reasons for partitioning Germany. Dividing the land was the only way that the Allies could think of to control Germany until a new government could be instated. France, America, England, and Russia all had parts of Germany that were put under their control temporarily. The Marshall Plan was established on April 3, 1948, in order to stop the Russians from influencing any of the weakened Western powers. During this time, the U.S. sent massive economic aid to Europe's democracies to help rebuild. Billions of dollars were spent to help countries recover quickly and to reduce the influence of communism spreading throughout Eastern Europe. The Marshall Plan helped to restore West Germany and rebuild it as a new ally in America's fight against Russia. Russia refused the aid of the Marshall Plan and, as a result, East Germany was not completely rebuilt. This caused East Germany's economy to get a big hit after reunification because the economy had to pay for all the reconstruction that the communism never did. Due to horrible conditions in East Germany, its citizens started to cross over West Germany and were allowed to proclaim themselves refugees. 2.6 million out of the 17.5 million residents East Germany had crossed over by 1961. Since so many citizens had started to move toward West Germany, it started to cause labor shortages in East Germany, causing a further degradation of an already failing East German economy. As East Germany got worse and worse, Russia became willing to take offensive measures to reclaim West Berlin. In December of 1947, Russia and the United States finally parted ways, and the Western powers began to meet about German businesses without the Russian ambassador present. On March 20, 1948, Russia declared that the Allied-controlled Council of Berlin no longer existed and voluntarily withdrew from all their meetings. As a result, no government relations existed between Russia and the other allies. Problems worsened when Russia wanted all of Berlin under their control. There was no treaty giving the Allies free access to West Berlin through Russian territory, so Russia exploited this situation and isolated Berlin from American soldiers and supplies. The Berlin blockade began in the mid of 1948 as Russian forces surrounded West Berlin in an effort to make Allied soldiers there surrender from starvation. The Soviets sealed off railroads and highways to the western sector of Berlin, effectively cutting it off from the western Allied sector of Germany. In response, the Allies instituted the Berlin Airlift on June 21, 1948, in order to provide West Berlin with food and fuel. Cargo planes would drop food, fuel, and other supplies into West Germany 24 hours a day. Russians were saying that the blockade had occurred because of extensive road work, but this didn't fool anyone. Not being able to think of anything else, Russia claimed that Berlin was rightfully theirs and that the Western powers